We did a video showcasing eufy NVR security systems S4 Max in real life situation. In this video, we're showcasing the smart search feature, which means that like a web browser, you're able to enter information and actually find the subjects in a matter of seconds. So whether you're looking with a man with a red hat, a white car, or even a cat, you're able to use this feature to find the right subject, which is honestly quite impressive. And all of this using the 4 cameras inside of the kit, so using dual lens with a fixed bullet camera and also a PTZ camera, so that does a 360 rotation on itself. But the video we're doing today is focusing on the full configuration, so how to install this kit and how to configure it through the NVR as well as the mobile application. So whether you're a new user or you've been using eufy for a while, we will make sure there are no secret left when doing the configuration, so this way you can follow along, make the install, and secure your premise in a matter of minutes. And if after the video, well, you like what you saw and you want to install it yourself and buy it for yourself, well, go in the description below. We have a link so you can save 15% off this kit. It's a win-win situation. You get a discount and you support us as well. All right, guys, let's get to it. So before we start the configuration, what do you actually have inside of this box? And honestly, it's really simple. You have 3 different boxes that are well indicated on what each box contains. So you have one for the NVR, one for the accessories, and one for the cameras. So if we start with the NVR, this is what you have inside. So in the box with the NVR, well, we have the NVR itself, so it has 8 PoE ports. You have a LAN port to connect it to internet. You have 2 USB-A's port, 1 USB-C, audio out, DC in, and also a sync button. Now, you also have a power supply to charge your NVR. You have a mouse to do all the configurations in there. It comes with a HDMI cable so you can connect it to your monitor, as well as an Ethernet cable to, well, give it internet and have access through your mobile app. If we look at the box with the cameras, well, as it's written on there, only the 4 cameras are on there, so all your cameras are in the same box. And finally, the accessory box. So a lot of things there. Keep in mind that everything in there, it comes in 4 times. So for each camera, but we'll show only one of each of them. Starting with the weather seal. So this is where you would install the cable to make sure you protect it from things such as rain or even snow. You have the mount, so for a wall mount installation or a ceiling installation, you have your screws and anchors. You have long Ethernet cables to do your connection, so from the NVR to your cameras. You have your positioning sticker to help you do the install and understand where to put your screws, and also the protected by sticker. So using all these accessories, you shouldn't need anything else to do your installation and also the configuration of your NVR. And this is what we'll start with. So configuring the NVR using a monitor. So when you connect your power supply to your NVR, this is the first instruction you receive. So it's the installation instruction telling you how to connect the Ethernet to your NVR and also to your camera. So you have 2 different methods. You can connect the router in the LAN port and connect your PoE camera to one of the PoE ports. And if you want to do this, well, it won't work. So connecting your NVR to the router and your camera to the router is not a good option. The other option would be using an external PoE switch where you could connect your camera and connect the PoE switch to your NVR as well. Remember that you have an NVR, so you can do it on a closed network. You don't need a router to have your cameras working and do your monitoring, but having a router means that you can have access to firmware update and also the mobile application. So it's a great option to have, so just connecting it to your router inside your LAN port. And as you can see on the front, you have some LED indication to tell you if you are connected or not. If you click on next, well, it's the basic steps you need to configure your NVR, starting with the language. You also have the screen resolution, so we will leave it at auto. When you click on next, you need to proceed to the privacy notice. Then you have your time zone, your date format, and your time format. When this is done, you can click on next. Then it will ask you to format the hard drive. In our case, we don't want to, because there is some footage on there that I want to show you, because we installed this for a while now and there is some really nice thing to show. But normally, again, it comes with a 2 terabyte installed hard drive, but you can expand it all the way up to 16 terabyte. You can also change the name of your NVR right there. If we click on next step is about your network access. In our case, we'll leave it to DHCP, so that means it will be attributed IP address on the same network of your router. If you have access to static IP address, well, you just need to change it to static and enter the information here. So in our case, again, we click on next, and then it's about the local account that you will be using. In our case, we did not change the admin, but normally you would need to enter your secret password to be able to access your account. In our case, it's a pretty straightforward password. Please don't copy it. And there we have it. So then we can go on next. Here it's to enter your security question. So if you ever lose your password, so this is a good way to find your account back. So make sure you note down the information you are writing here. Once this is done, as you can see, well, we have completed all the steps, and it asks you to plug the PoE camera into the NVR device, and with an internet cable, as I mentioned before, so you have access to the application. You can also scan the QR code if you never installed the application to have access to it, and then you can launch. So the reason it's telling you this, it's actually to do the enrollment, which we will show in just a few minutes, because when you install your cameras in your NVR, what is really nice here is that just by scanning the QR code on your NVR, well, it will enroll the cameras at the same time. So as you can see, our cameras are already installed here with the different angles. And if this is the first time you're using an NVR, you can see that it's quite different from a mobile application. And you can have a full screen view of your camera, so making it really accessible to view. And you can actually also customize the way they appear. Right now we are using a view for 9 cameras, but if I go inside live setup right here and I click on it, well, I can customize it for only 4 cameras angle. So I can drag and drop the cameras and they will appear in this configuration. So if I apply the changes, as you can see now, I have my 4 different camera angles, and if I go in full screen, this is what I will be seeing. So using an NVR like so makes it really easy to monitor rather than using only your mobile phone, because you have this full resolution and you also have the use of the mouse so you can click around your cameras. So for example, if I want to go inside this camera for a bigger view, I can double click on them and it will give me the full resolution of the fixed bullet camera, so in 4K. Not only that, but I have access to the movable camera on the top left. So if I click on this one, well, it switches the view. So now my fix is on top and I have my PTZ right here with the different PTZ functions. So I can move around using the arrows that I have right here to move the cameras where I want it to move. If I want it to go down, right, it's pretty easy to do. And not only that, I also have access to the zoom. So if I go up, for example, a little bit to the right, and I want to zoom on the car, I can click on the 3x right here, and I can zoom my camera. I can zoom all the way up to 8x, but remember this is a digital zoom, so you will lose some of the resolution. So we'll go back here, and I will go back to the home screen before we keep going here. So again, and this is what I like about using an NVR when you have to monitor a premise. It gives you this nice script resolution that you don't have on a mobile phone. So this was the full screen. Live setup, again, gives you the access to create those different templates. So now we have our 4 camera angles, and at the beginning we had 9. So you can really customize them to your needs. If you have multiple eufy cameras hooked up to your NVR, well, you can see different angles there. If you use video cycling, so this is if you have multiple templates, as I mentioned, so it will just cycle through those different templates, so you always see the different cameras angle that you have. And finally, you have the screen lock. So screen lock will block the template, and only if you have the access code, you will be able to modify them. Now, I want to go back on the camera view, so by double clicking on the camera here, to show you some of the options that you have on there. So right now, I'm on the fixed camera. If I look at the bottom left, well, I have access to my warning that will activate the active deterrence on the camera. So I have either a white strobe light that will start flashing, or blue and red light that will start flashing, so imitating a police car. And this way it will deter anyone that comes on my premise to try and enter my house, for example. This is all configurable also through the app, so keep that in mind. What I'm doing here will also show it on the mobile application. So if you want to use the mobile app or the NVR, you will have all the tools to do as you wish. Next would be the light. So if during nighttime you don't have it set up at automatic detection, you can set up the light for yourself. And here is the voice. So you have two-way communication on this camera, so you can communicate with someone in front of your camera. So by activating the voice, it turns on the audio and you're able to hear what's happening outside. If we go towards this side, you have different functions. So I have AI tracking activated. So this is for my movable camera. So any subject that comes in front of the camera, whether it's a car, a pet, or a human, the camera will follow them until they exit the field of view of the camera. So this is really practical, and this is kind of why most people like PTZ cameras, is because they're able to track them anywhere. And this one specifically has a 360-degree angle, so they will follow you until the end of the world, because as soon as they leave, it means that they really cut the angle. Or else, as I mentioned before, you have the arrows. I can go all the way down like so and just see beneath the camera. So even if someone goes from the front entrance and go under the camera will be able to follow them. Going back to the fixed one, here I have my image quality, so I can change it from high to low. And I have my settings, so for the image, if I want to change the brightness, the contrast, the frequency settings as well. And I also have different views that I can change. So if I want to do the mirror view or rotate the image. And here is about the night vision. So there's 3 different types of night vision you can have with these cameras. Either the street light. So by using this, it activated the AI ISP, which is a great low light view. So without having big spotlight, you're still able to capture colors in front of the camera. If I activate the spotlights, well, you have 4 spotlights on this camera that would be activated at the same time. And finally, you have IR, so infrared, that will give you a black and white image, but still in a great resolution. If I click on the movable camera, so going back here, there's a couple of options to showcase here. So if it's the first time you're using a PTZ, this is something that can be really practical. So first would be the presets. So you have this icon right here on the bottom right. If I click on this, it will drag me to the settings. So we'll show you how to configure presets and what they are for your PTZ camera. Because your PTZ camera can be set on a cruise mode, meaning that it will patrol different locations to really monitor everything on your premise. But first off, it's about defining a default position. So for example, I want my PTZ camera to have this angle at all time until it finds a subject. So I can set this, confirm, and so this position is now part of my presets, as you can see appearing here. So I can configure multiple ones. If I go back in my settings, Well, I have one here that I can set as default position. And again, the default position means that if it finds a subject, it will track them until they leave the field of view. And after 10 seconds, it will go back to this default position. If I add another preset angle, so let's say I want my camera to look at the entrance right here. I set it there and I confirm. Well, now click on here, I have my different presets. And this is what I mean, is that you can create a lot of presets and then activate the cruise options. And now you see it going back to the default position. So here you can see you have your 2 presets activated, and you can create multiple ones to configure a patrol where your camera will go to 1, to 2, to 3, and just move around as you wish. Now, the other thing I want to show you is if you click here on the switch view, it gives you access to another icon, which is called linked. So on your application, it would be PTZ linkage. That means that every time someone comes in the field of view of your fixed camera, even if your PTZ doesn't see the subject, it will start tracking them. So it will turn around and follow that person or that car or that pet until it leaves the field of view. So this is kind of the power of having a dual lens camera, is that you can make it so they work together and making sure that you're really able to monitor any actions happening on your screen. Now, one of the real power of using an NVR to monitor is actually the playback options, because here you have access to multiple camera view. Not only that, but you have access to all their timelines. So if I select all my cameras, as you can see, I have 4 different timelines at the bottom. So if some things happen on one angle, on 2, 3, 4, I can understand where my subject was going because he's following all those different cameras. And I can see it through one pane of glass, so I don't need to go, for example, on my mobile phone, I need to see this through individual camera views. And here I see the global information all at the same time. And we will play a clip that we did on the video where we tested the local AI chip, and you'll understand what I mean. So as you can see, I arrive on one screen, then on the second one, and then on both screens, so in the driveway. And all of this happened from the same view. So I'm able to really monitor all the actions and understand where I was going. And all of this in the timeline, I see that the playback happened at the same time as well. Now, if I go inside of event, this is where you would have access to the smart video search. So they say search by keywords, but you can really search pretty much how you want it to search. So if I, for example, again, play this clip where I was searching for a man with a purple hat, as you can see, I appear on the screen in multiple ways again, because it's able to find me through AI analytics. You can also use filters. So if I click on the filters, I have access to humans. I can choose the color of their shirts, color of their pants. I also have access to vehicles, and I can find cars, buses, trucks, and their colors as well. So really facilitating the way to monitor, and it also works with pets. You also have access to a database of faces. So if you want to put familiar faces in a database, well, this is accessible through the settings that we have right here that we will show a little bit later. And this way, again, it's about being efficient. So if you go inside unknown faces, you can see all the different strangers that came in front of your house, of your small business. And you can also input in your database all the familiar faces that you have here. You also have access to the calendar. So if you want to do a specific search through 1 week or a single day, this is also accessible through here. And you can select from which device you want to do the search. Now, going inside the settings, so you have the equipment you are using. As you can see, we have our NVR and we have the both PoE cameras that are connected to it. So here I can access the settings of the camera through the NVR. So by clicking on the cogwheel next to the camera, it gives me an equipment overview. I also have access to the recording mode. So if I want to record continuously, if I want to record even bass, if I want to record on a schedule, this is where I have access. And not only that, I can create event actions. So that means that if there's an event, it can record before the event and also some seconds after the event to help me give better context to the situation. So when it detects someone entering my backyard, for example, well, rather than just having the event when he entered, if I have 5 seconds before, I can actually better understand that maybe he jumped the fence, maybe he came from the side of the house. So this can be a really practical feature. You also have access to the AI tracking that we discussed before, the fixed PTZ collaboration as well, and all your recording settings. I want to change the way I'm recording to save some storage space. Here I can change that. So right now I have my bullet set to 4K resolution with my PTZ to 2K resolution, and they are both working at 20 FPS. For the bitrate quality level, it's similar to this, so it's about saving your storage space. And what they have is actually quite nice because this feature right here means that it will adapt to the situation. So if there's no event, well, the bit rate will stay low, saving some storage space. And when there is an event, well, it will go up to upgrade the quality of your image. You can do exactly the same thing for your substream, so adjusting the bitrate and also the resolution. And if we go a little bit down, here you have the global settings. So this is practical if you want to have all the same settings on your cameras. Rather than configuring them all one by one, you can set up global settings to follow NVR settings, and all your cameras will have the same functions right there. So for example, I want them all to have face recognition, human detection. I want them to do vehicle detection as well and pet detection. Well, there you have it. If I change this configuration, so not following the NVR settings, I can configure them manually. And this way you can have some cameras set only for vehicles, others set only for humans. So depending on the need of your security. Next would be the detection and privacy zone. So if I click on activity zone, I need to set up for my camera an activity zone. I just click on the plus, so add on the bottom left, and it will give me this box that I can move around to draw where I want the detection to happen. So for example, if I don't want to pick up the neighbor's backyard, I can do my box only following this alley right here. So any motion detection that will happen in this particular area will send me a notification, but if some things happen here, well, it will not send me a notification. Then I can save that. I can do exactly the same thing with my movable camera. So by clicking on the plus sign, it will give me a box and I'm able to set my activity zone. And down it's actually the privacy zone. So it works in a similar fashion. So I have my fixed camera right here. If I click on add, it's a black box. And here I could hide my neighbor's backyard because I don't want to record what's happening in their backyard. So by drawing this box, any footage, so action that happened in their backyard, you will have this box inside the recording. So making sure you give them some privacy because it's not about them, it's really about monitoring your space. Down would be about the watermarks. So if you want to have them on your recording, this is where you would see that as well. Now leaving the recording mode, we will go to the settings on the top right. This is similar to what we saw when we were on the camera. So you have multiple options here. You can change your device name. You can change also the audio settings. So if you want to record through the microphone, the voice and what's happening outside, or you want to disable it, same thing with the microphone and the speakers. You can configure your night vision here as well. Here it's about calibration of your dome camera that you can do here as well, and the light settings so that we discussed. We can do some different things here. So for example, if I want my lights to always be on, I can configure it here and change and set some kind of schedule. And it would be the same thing for motion activated lights. So I can use that and set up a schedule. So for example, during nighttime, on my light, as soon as it sees someone, it will turn on the spotlight. But for that to work, you need to activate motion detection in your AI. So if again, you're using the global settings, make sure you activate this inside your NVR. The light alarm also, so we mentioned that there is a white strobe light that you can use, or the red and blue light for the alarms. And you can also activate your status indicator right here. Going a little bit down, you have access to your notifications and also the different firmware updates that you can do manually or automatically inside your application. And you can also remove or restart your device from this setting page. So this is to cover all the settings that you can do from the NVR on your camera. If I go into the alert, this is more about your system. So if there's a problem with your hard drive, some administrator activity, user activity, if there is an update, there is a device activity as well. And this is also where you would set up the global settings of your NVR. So if I want to remove the faces recognized, well, I can remove that here. And same thing if I want to enable all the motion detections, human detections, vehicle and pet, this is where I would do that as well. Going in the systems, so here I can change the device name, the language. So if you made any mistake during the enrolling phase, this is where you would be able to fix that. And not only that, you can restart your NVR from here and also do a factory reset. You have all the information here and also this QR code for the eufy app. You have access to your storage. So right now it's still using the previous storage that we had during our demos, but you can format your hard drive to make it new right here. As for the display, it's about the output resolution on your monitor. And also if you want to have an automatic lock screen, so that means that if I don't touch my mouse for 1 minute and someone tried to access afterwards, they will need to input the password to be able to do anything. The local account is about the admin account. So if you want to change your password, this is also where you would do that. You have access to a log. So anytime some things happen in the different operation, you would be able to see this. And finally, it's face. So this is your face database. So any unknown faces would appear here. And you can actually tag them. So give them a name, who they are, and they will now appear on familiar faces. So this is how you would manage this part. So this is pretty much everything you can do through the NVR. If you click on here, you have your different events that can appear on the side. So these are your recent events. You have your notification on the top, as well as the motion notifications, and you have access to the account settings. So now that we covered the NVR part, we'll go inside the mobile application to show you how this works on that side. Now that we've looked at the NVR, how does it work on the mobile app? And first off, how to add the NVR with the cameras to your mobile application. So as I mentioned before, make sure that you connect the LAN part of the NVR to Ethernet. This which will give you access to the mobile app. So all you need to do is open the eufy app that you download either on the Apple Store or on the Google Play Store. Inside your home, so once you have created your account, you click on Add Device. And here inside Security, you need to choose NVR. Once you've chosen NVR, you click on the NVR. You select a name for this NVR. You click on Next. Then it will prompt you, as I mentioned, to connect it to the router and make sure that it is connected with a Wi-Fi and that your NVR is turned on. And then it will open up your camera and you will scan the NVR, the QR code of the NVR. So the QR code is right here. So on the left side of your NVR, you have your QR code. And now it's adding the NVR. You hear the beeping noise. So it's prompt you to sync the NVR. So with the sync button, you just need to press it. You hear again a sound, and now it's syncing the device. So all the cameras that you have connected on your NVR will be synced at the same time. So I click on Next, and as you can see now, I have my different camera views. So I have my first camera on the side and the other camera that is monitoring the parking lot. From there, a lot of things can be done. So let's start with the home page. As you can see here, I have my 2 cameras. If I go inside of events, this is where you would find all the different events that happen during the day. And you also have access to a calendar to monitor through here. You have the services. So here you have access to the face management as well. So it's the same thing we did inside the NVR, so using the monitor. This is also where you would configure the cross camera tracking. So what does that mean is that if you have installed multiple cameras, you can set a trigger zone. So when a subject enters that zone, well, the other camera will pick up where the other camera left. So that means that if the subject leaves the field of view inside the trigger zone, the other camera will be ready to pick up where the action was left. So it's good to put that, for example, near a corner. So if the subject leaves and turns the corner, well, the other camera will pick up that action. So to set that up, you click on cross camera tracking. You activate cross camera tracking, and by selecting the different cameras where you want to use this, then it will tell you that you need to enable human recognition for cameras. You enable your cameras afterwards, so clicking on here, and you set up the camera tracking. So as I mentioned, the first thing you need to set up is the trigger zone for the tracking camera, and also you need to set up the relay camera. So you have always a tracking and a relay camera for this type of situation, and a camera cannot be a relay and a tracking camera. So when you've done that, you select your camera, and then, for example, this one is my tracking one. So I will set up a trigger zone. So this is my trigger zone, for example. I set it up, then I go back. As you can see, my PO2 Cam S4 2 is written as set. And then on this one, I select my preset position that I want it to be. I click on save, and now both my cameras are set, and I have a wait time of 30 seconds. And this way I can save those settings, and now I have a group 1 for my camera tracking. So now you have your group 1 camera for the camera tracking, and you can create new tracking groups from the same page, so right here. If we leave this page right here, so to go through the other setups, so you have your cloud backup that you can activate it here as well. And if we click on Smart, this is where you can create different modes for your device. So if I click here, I have access to the mode of my NVR. So right now it's set up as home, but I have a away mode, disarm, geofencing, schedule, and I can actually customize one as I want to. So you don't need to use the presets that you have here. So if I click on the cogwheel for the away mode, for example, this is to set up the different alarm rules. So as we saw inside the NVR settings, you can set your alarms to have active deterrence with either a strobe light or the red and blue light, and this is where you can configure them. So for example, I can change the alarm delay, the leaving delay, so that means that when I activate it, I can actually go inside my car and leave before it triggers the alarm. And I can set the different device rules that are activated during the security mode. So I wanted to be able to video record, send a notification, a camera alarm, and also a light alarm. So by camera alarm, you can have a siren setup, and the light alarm will be what we just discussed, so to act as an active deterrent. So again, through this space, you can customize a lot of things. You can also look at the tips and hints that helps you configure the different automation for your camera and your NVR. So for example, the trigger cameras with sensors, and you also have a window protection tip right there. Going back in home, we'll access our cameras. So you have your security report on the top. The search tool is actually the smart video search tool that we showcase inside. So this works exactly the same way. When you click on the search option, so here you can change the confidence level. So for example, if someone is in front of the camera, you can see that, for example, if it's a purple hat, it recognizes it at 70 something %, but you want to have only what's over 75%. So you can change that, and then it will make it easier to find the appropriate subject, because some of them are 50%, so they're not necessarily accurate, but it helps you filter out all those different things to be able to really monitor properly what you're looking for. Now, if you click on the cameras themselves, so just by double clicking, you have access to the same options again. So on the top right, you have the strobing light so that you can activate by clicking here. So camera alarm or camera light. If you click on this button to the right of the alarms, it gives you access to the NVR. So you have all the cameras with the views from them inside of the application here. The cogwheel is the settings of the camera. So from there, you can change the different motion detection. You can change the pan tilt settings. So if you want to do your preset position from your mobile app, this is where you would do them, and also be able to activate the auto cruise. You also have the light settings here. So when I click on there, you can adjust the brightness of the light. You can configure if they're activated through motion activation. So it's exactly the same thing. It's just where to find the information, right? Because you have one side on the NVR, you have one side on the mobile app. So this is the goal of this video, is that you can just follow along so you don't need to search by yourself and lose some valuable time. You have the video settings that you can click on if you want to change the recording type of your camera, make it maybe even based as well. So this is where you would do the changes. You have the audio settings if you want to mute your microphone and remove the audio recording. Also, if you want to manage your notifications, it will be there as well. And you also have the general settings. So if you want to change the name of your camera, activate the status light, look at the storage, and the mounting guide as well. You can share your device. So if you want other people to be able to monitor your cameras, you just need to send them your device from here. So it will prompt you to enter their email address. Then they need to download the application, and they will be from there able to see your cameras. Now looking at the cameras themselves, on the bottom you have the different settings. So you can actually navigate through them by putting your thumb at the bottom of the screen, and then you will be able to roll. So it doesn't work if you're somewhere else on the screen. You really need to be at the bottom. So starting with record, it's to do a recording when there is not an event happening. So by clicking on there, it will start recording, as you can see, and it will save inside of your phone this recording. You can also take a snapshot, so a screenshot of the screens that you have. You can start a communication just by clicking on talk. If you click on pan and tilt, it gives you the option for your PTZ to start moving it around, as you can see right here. So simply by clicking on your screen, you're able to monitor it. And it also opens up some other settings for your PTZ, so you can have the presets and also do a panoramic view. I can activate or deactivate my sound. I can activate my PTZ linkage. So from my application as well, the AI tracking, we have access to opening or closing the light, and same thing with the night vision option. And finally, a round look. So this is to make a 360-degree round look of your PTZ camera if you want to really see everything and make sure that your camera is well set. So this is practical during the installation. So depending on where you install your camera, you can do the 360 round look, and this way you can really understand what your PTZ camera can monitor from there. If you want to change camera view, you can either do it from the NVR, or on the top you click on the small arrow, and here you will have the vision of your both cameras. So now I want to access the S4 II, and it gives me access to the other angle. From there I have exactly the same settings. If you click for example on the bottom right of the fixed camera, it gives you a bigger screen similar to what we had on the monitors. You have your view of your movable and the view of your fixed, and from there you can still start recording, taking a snapshot, making a call, changing the zooms, and having access to your settings. Now changing the camera view, I want to show you the playback as well. So if you click on playback, you can select either your fixed or your movable cameras. So if I click on movable camera, as you can see on the timeline, it's using different icons to help you figure out what kind of event was detected. So if I go here, there was a human detection. So it's able to track the person in front here. And it's pretty accurate, as you can see. And if I go a little bit before, so it was the car, probably the car that we see parked here, yeah, that appeared on the screen. So even with, as you can hear, the two-way communication recorded, so I'm able to hear the audio as well. So this is really practical, again, making it easy for you to monitor any situation. And through the playback, you also have, so if I go on the fixed one, you will see I have the same detection, it's just the angle that changes. You also have access to the calendar on the top right, so if you want to find an event that happened before, you can always go back, confirm, and you will have the same timeline that appears. When you click on an event, you're able to download the footage, you can share it as well. So if I click on the car, for example, as you can see on the bottom right, I have the download and share options that are lighting up in white. So this makes it, again, convenient to just download it on my phone to be able to share it afterwards, or I can share right away. So there you have it. This is how you can configure your eufy NVR security systems S4 Max. All the steps through NVR, all the steps through the mobile app. And if you have questions, guys, leave us a comment below. We'll make sure to answer them. But not only that, but at Pipl Systems, we're a bunch of security systems experts. So if you have maybe a question that takes further explanation and you don't want to leave it in the comment, you can always reach us at admin@pipl.systems. And this way we can help you out with your configuration, and we can even guide you through the buyer process of this kit or maybe another one. We can help you decide what kind of equipment you would need for your small business or even for residential use. But if this kit is talking to you, well, in the link in the description, there's a 15% discount that you can use to buy it for yourself. So not only you're supporting the channel, but you're saving a little bit of money, and who doesn't like that? All right, guys, I'm Jeremy from Pipl Systems. See you on the next one.